I think we're safe from the copyright. Oh, would you look who it is? Oh, FF10 HD Remaster. Sequel confirmed. Sequel's already out. That is it. The end. I think it's gonna stay at this screen. We're gonna finish talking about the game. I have a couple things I want to say about the story and characters. Is it gonna leave the screen? It might. Oh, no, it will. Okay. Oh, it's gonna go back here. Let's just load this up, and I'll continue talking about the game. But yeah. The story just hits so many good beats. It has a lot going on with, like, at first it focuses on the journey, the pilgrimage, because, like, again, we're aware that Yuna, like, knows. She knows she's gonna die, so, like, just imagine how hard it is for her to put on a brave face and have to, like, cherish these moments with her guardian. So at first it starts off with, like, focusing on the journey, which is good. It focuses on the characters in the journey, so that's really neat. And her relationship with Tidus. This is clearly a love story between Tidus and Yuna, and I think it's really well done. This and Grandia do really good love stories, I think. I'm not really a big fan of Tidus. I don't dislike Tidus. I know a lot of people don't like Tidus. I don't really dislike Tidus. He's my least favorite character. But I don't like, I think Tidus is a little hard to like in the beginning, but I think he gets better as the game goes on. He gets a lot more tolerable. He's not one of the best characters. He's probably one of the worst characters. I still like him though. I have some connection, like, I don't know about connection, but I still have some things about Tidus that I really like. So yeah, the story is just really well done. It focuses on pilgrimage, and then it goes on to, like, focusing on, like, you know, the Al Bhed and the Yevonites and stuff. The way it does that is really well done. Like Wakka, especially. Wakka's like a big, like, follower of Yevon, so he starts to question things in his character arc, which is really well done. And you find out that Yevon's actually kind of a scumbag. So Yevon's not really all that good, but yeah, it does so well when it comes to that. Like, the little pieces. Like, I feel like FF10 has it has a good, like, the story at first might not seem that deep, but the way it tells its story is really well done. There's so much foreshadowing to the events. And, like, Seymour is, like, very obviously bad. Like, that's, like, it's not really Seymour's fault. It's just that he looks bad. It's very much like Ganabelt from Tales of Arise. But, yeah, so they do so well at building that stuff up. Like showing you all the little faults of why Yevon might not be what it seems. So it does so well at that. And yeah, I just really like that. And then Al Bhed are seen as bad at first, like, they're seen as the enemy kidnapping Yuna, but then later on, like, you know, little pieces of it, like, showing you, like, oh, the Al Bhed are stealing the summoners because they want to save them. They don't want them to die. Which, that's not justified, but, you know. But anyway, the story is just so well done, and I think the little hints they put out there is really good. It's just so good what they do with it. It's phenomenal. I cannot speak more of it, but yeah. The characters in this game are also great. I love the characters. My least favorite character is probably Tidus. I talked about this, but Tidus is a little annoying and whiny in the beginning of the game. But as the game goes on, he gets a lot more tolerable, and he starts to understand more about, like, the world around him and why. Like, at first he's just like, oh, like, you know, doesn't understand what's going on because he's not from Spira. But yeah, and then later on he starts to get it, you know, starts to build a connection with Yuna, and starts to see everything around him and learn stuff. So I really do like that. 6th place is Kimahri, only because Kimahri doesn't really get much screen time and Kimahri doesn't really talk much, but Kimahri is still, like, you know, loyal guardian to Yuna. What he does. And the whole Ronso thing was neat, too. Having the Ronso there. I wish they'd done more with the Ronso, honestly. Like, I feel very similar about Kimahri than I do about Fran. I wish they did more with the race. They didn't do much with the Vieira of FF12. I wish they did more with the Ronso in FF10 like they did with the Vieira. Well, Vieira had the same problem, though. But Kimahri's still good. You know, simple, loyal guardian to Yuna. My number 5 is probably Wakka. I think Waka's got a lot of stuff going for him, especially with his character really tackles like how do I word this? It really tackles like, you know, the false believings kind of story arc, which is interesting. Lulu kind of goes hand in hand with that, but Lulu's a little more deeper than that. But Waka tackles the false believings. Like Waka believes in, he's like a hard fan of Yevon. Like, I don't think fan's the right word. Hard follower. Follower is a better word. Hard follower of Yevon. And when he starts to see, he hates the Albed because of what happened to his brother, I guess, and the Machina. And like, you know, Yevon like forbids Machina. So the only thing I don't like about Waka is that he's like kind of racist, I guess, and it takes him a while to really like put the pieces together. Like, the pieces are right in front of him sometimes. Like, oh, what does this all mean? Like, Yevon's actually like Yevons are actually not that great. Like, it starts to become obvious that Yevon is the enemy, and Waka just doesn't put it together. That's really where I just think Waka falls short. And his whole scene with Riku is like, it's like because like Riku was an Albed the whole time, and then like just because he found out Riku was an Albed, he doesn't want to like her. Like, I mean, he was getting along with her, and just, you know, it's just kind of there are a couple shortcomings in Waka's character that I don't like, but he's not a bad character. I just think that Waka just is kind of an idiot sometimes, but other than that, I think he's good. Fourth place I think would go to it's either Riku or Lulu. I just don't know who I would put higher. I think I would put probably Riku. Yeah, I would put Riku at number 4. Yeah, that makes sense. Riku would be number 4. Riku's good. I think having an Albed of the group is really good for her. And she's Yuna's cousin too, because Sid is Yuna's uncle. So she wants to protect Yuna. That's really good. The stuff about that, like when we go to her homeland and we learn that like she was like they were kidnapping Yuna because they wanted to protect her. She didn't want to see her die. She was constantly trying to find a way to turn that around and like not use the final summoning. But yeah. So Riku's good. She's also just like kind of the comic relief, I guess. But you know, it's kind of hard to have a comic relief in the game like this. But Riku's good. I do like the kind of things that Riku goes for, and all that stuff. Being an Albed and all, it's very interesting. But yeah, number 3 is Lulu. I like Lulu. Lulu, in the beginning, Lulu just seems like kind of like the tough love mother type. Like, you know, she seems like she's always mad, or like she like seems like she doesn't care. But we learn deep down that she and Chapu, who's Waka's brother, she and Chapu had some kind of relationship going. They were like lovers or fiancés, whatever they were, but they were in love. And you know, she puts on that face because she keeps all of her feelings inside. So yeah, Lulu didn't really have much going for her, I feel, till later in the game, because she was pretty much like Waka. She was like a Yevon follower, but she just didn't like, she didn't hate the Albed like Waka did. She was kind of like Waka, but like a different version. Like, if Waka really hated the Albed and was very vocal about his feelings, she really wasn't. She kept everything inside, and I thought she complimented Waka really well. They had a really neat dynamic going on. But yeah, I really feel like Lulu's character was mostly tied into Waka, which is why they work so well together. I think Waka and Lulu work well together. So yeah. Number 2 is Auron. I do like Auron a good deal. Auron, I still wish Square Enix would make us 10-3 and give us a prequel with Braska, Jecht, and Auron. But Auron's good. Auron was Guardian. So were Lulu and Waka, but Auron has been a Guardian many years ago, so he kind of has more experience than the others. And I really do think that Auron is kind of that like mentor type figure to Yuna, is he was guarding Braska. So having Auron here is kind of neat. Having him like look down, be with Yuna, and like help her out and guide her and all that was really good. And he had a whole promise thing with Jecht. He's, you know, watching Tidus for that reason, so Jecht told him to. So the dynamic between him, Jecht, and Braska, you really get to feel how close they were as friends, especially if you go for the Jecht spheres. If you get the Jecht spheres, you'll get so much background on how close they were as a group. So Auron's really good for that. And number 1, to no one's surprise, is best girl herself, Yuna. I adore Yuna. She's great. I love Yuna. I love her character arc especially. She starts off really reserved and shy, but and not as outspoken. But as the game goes on, she's clearly still like really polite and stuff, but she's a lot more outspoken and she's seen more of the world. She kind of goes into like the sheltered princess role, just a tad. But I'm gonna reformat myself. But she kind of starts off like Elena from Grandia 2, but she's still really polite and all that, but she quickly becomes like more knowledgeable about the world. Like she really doesn't know much. And again, she puts on a brave face even though she knows she's gonna die. Like I give her credit for that. So I think Yuna was a really well done character. And again, her relationship with Tidus is one of the best in the series. The series and video games in general. Tidus and Yuna are probably like my second favorite couple. Maybe third favorite couple. But honestly, the only other couple I can think of that I love more is Justin and Fina. Outside of them, I think Tidus and Yuna would be second or third. They're just such a great dynamic. And the Macalania scene is gorgeous. I know the laughing scene gets a lot of hate, but it does mean a lot. Like, that's like intentional. I know the voice direction could have been better. The voice acting could have been better for it, but the scene itself is good. It means a lot. Like, Yuna is trying to cheer up Tidus, and also their journey is a sad one because we know Yuna's gonna die. So that scene does mean a lot, despite it being, you know, cringe. I know it's cringe. It is still cringe, but it does mean a lot in the concept of the game. But yeah. The last thing I want to talk about is the other characters and the world building of Spira. Spira is like my favorite world in video games. I think Spira is amazing. They got the whole like I love the Pyrefly, the concept of Pyreflies, the far plane where you talk to people. Pyreflies recreate the people that died and you talk to them. The concept of the Fallen, or not the Fallen, the Fallen. I think it's the Fallen, right? I think it's called the Fallen. Like Auron himself was a Fallen, was like not like was the undead. I love that concept. The sendings and stuff. It's just the themes in Spira are really good. It's sad. It's tragic. I would not want to live in a world like Spira. But from someone who's playing a video game, from that kind of perspective, there's so much detail into Spira's world, and you could probably get more of it if you talk to either NPCs or talk to Macon. Macon will give you a good amount of the stories and stuff. But the detail of the world, they did so well building up Spira, and the whole like faith and the temples and stuff. Like everyone looks up to the highest summoners that defeat Sin. It sucks, you know, to have Sin punishment come like every 10 years, but it's so... Obviously, I'm not living in the world. I would not want to live in Spira, but playing the video game, it's so detailed and so well done. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about some other characters really quick. I did like Sid from the All Bed. Clearly, the game focused more on the original the six Guardians and Yuna. But I do like some of the background characters. Like the group, the Chocobo Knights are interesting. Let me see. I don't think what else I want to talk about. Sid was good. We didn't get much of Sid. But I really just think the side characters don't get much time. But they will get more time in 10 too. There'll be side quests related to them. But the game clearly focused on the main 7. Which is fine. That's great. You want to focus on the main 7. Seymour as a villain is... I don't know. He's okay. I would consider Seymour more the main villain than Jecht, honestly. Jecht only appears in that one scene and he's Sin. But clearly, I don't think the game wants you to think Sin is like your target. Sin is like, you know, the punishment. Sin is more symbolic than a villain. I don't think the game really thinks like, oh, Sin's the main villain. Sin is just a symbolic thing about that. But, yeah. Seymour's fine, I think. I think Seymour comes back way too many times. And it kind of summed up when Tidus said, like, what was it he said before the final fight? I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, it was like, don't you ever give up or something. That really sums it up. Seymour comes way too many times, maybe. I feel like having 4 fights is one too many. So, yeah, but Seymour's fine. But yeah. Dude, I just love the world of Spira. And again, like, it's tragic, and it's tragic, and there's a lot of, like, death involved, but it's very detailed, and I like that. Also, Yuna's final words in the ending, never forget them, the whole dream thing, that just hits so much. Because I talked about not liking... I know a lot of people don't like Tidus, and I know Tidus is my least favorite character. The only reason I really like Tidus is because of Yuna and him. Tidus by himself is, like, okay, but Tidus and Yuna together are amazing. But that last line with Yuna really hits. That ending hits. It's just so good. But yeah. I think that's all. I think that's all I have to talk about. Don't care about context. Still hate that scene. That's fair. That's fair. Look, I'm not trying to say. I'm going to say this now. This is my review. I probably won't talk about the game in the post-game much because I'm reviewing the game now. I want to let all of this out now. Everyone on YouTube, everyone on Twitch, everyone watching this right now. I am not convincing anyone to like that laughing scene. In fact, I think it's cringe. I think the voice direction could have been better. I am not saying, yo, like the laughing scene because it has so much meaning. Go ahead, hate on the scene. I'm just explaining. I'm just saying it's there for a reason, I think. It could have been voiced better. It could be less cringe, but it's there for a reason. And the reason is because it means a lot to the journey. It really adds to the journey. And the context. Again, the context. Yeah, again, like, not saying to anyone to like it. You can hate it. That's fine. I don't even like it. It belongs, I think. Again, it could have been voiced better, but it belongs in the game because it means a lot. It's really impactful for the kind of game this is. But, I'm trying to think what else I want to talk about really quickly. I talked about the music, I talked about the graphics, I talked about the battle system. Oh, another thing I didn't talk about. The whole Aeon thing was the whole Aeon thing in battle was really cool. Doing that was really neat. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. I want to let all of my like opinions out now. I don't want the post game to be like, oh, this game is great. Like, I'll probably, like, when I'm playing the post game, I'll be like, oh, if I see a character, I'll be like, oh, man, this was such a great part of the game. Oh, you know what I could talk about? I could talk about iconic moments. I did that for Grandia. I talked about, like, every moment of the game, like, little favorite parts of the game, like, sections. I could do that just really quickly. There's not much, but I could talk about that a few. Let me think here. Certain moments I really liked. Operation Mayhem was neat. I think that was a really pivotal moment in the game. Getting like a glimpse of how powerful Sin really is. Like getting a glimpse of how, like, what you're up against. Like, Sin starts out as like just this thing. You're hearing about Sin as you're playing the game. You haven't seen Sin until the boat area. But yeah, but then when you get to Operation Mayhem, other than the boat, you see Sin's fin. When you get to Operation Mayhem, you get a true glimpse of Sin's power. And I know it's tragic that people die. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, people die. Like, oh, you know, sarcastically, like, oh, murder's great. I know a lot of people are like, oh, murder's great. But seriously, though, that scene where Sin, like, wipes out, like, most of the area in the Mushroom Rock Road, it's so, like, it's pivotal because it just shows you how powerful Sin really is. Like, obviously, you assume how powerful Sin is. But, like, that's your proof that, like, yeah, this isn't just anything. This is, like, the eternal punishment. So, like, that was really impactful. Just seeing that and seeing the amount of people died there is really, impactful. I'm not going to talk about the laughing scene. I talked enough about that. And I know a lot of people are going to hate on the video. I'm going to go out of order here. The Makalania scene was really well done. Just a really pivotal moment for Titus and Yuna and their relationship. Too bad I had to mute the audio, but there wasn't much dialogue, so we got the gist of what was going on there. That was a really neat scene. Another thing I don't really like about the game, I don't know. I don't really like, Yuna gets kidnapped one too many times, I feel. And it's to, like, the same extent. I've talked about this before, but, I'm fine if the game wants to make a girl. I feel like if a game makes someone kidnapped a third time, that's pushing it. But, it depends on the way you make the kidnapping happen. Like, obviously, like, and I'm not talking about, like, you know, kidnapped, but in different ways. I'm talking about, like, getting kidnapped. Like, the way Yuna gets kidnapped in this game, she gets kidnapped twice, in literally the same kind of way. The first time is like when they Abed take her and Luca, and then the second time was when they were crossing the moon flow. Like, that's a problem. And especially when there are like 4 to 6 guardians, like, it doesn't help their case. So I guess it kind of bothers me that Yuna gets kidnapped one too many times. That's a nitpick at best. It doesn't ruin the game for me, but it's just something I noticed. But again, games could do something different with kidnappings, like make it like a little more like, you know, make like a certain circumstance happen, like a catalyst happen, like where the female couldn't defend themselves. Like Yuna, the game just paints Yuna as this like damsel in distress sometimes. Like Yuna, I get it, she's a white mage and a summoner, but like you're telling me she couldn't do anything about that, like especially the fact that there were like 4 to 6 guardians. But like again, I don't want to bring up other games, but like Tales of Arise, like Xion was like literally like magically, like she could not move when she was kidnapped by Vol'jin, plus she was only kidnapped once. And same for Fina and Grandia, where she was getting used to her Ikarian powers and she was kidnapped by Ball off screen because she was worn out. But Yuna is literally not even worn out, she just gets taken. And that's kind of like a Super Mario Bros approach. Like, you know how Princess Peach gets kidnapped so many times? That would bother me too. Like, that's kind of how Yuna gets kidnapped. But yeah, that's a minor thing, it's not a big deal. Another scene I like, I love the scene. I don't like the wedding necessarily of Seymour and Yuna, but the moment where Yuna like falls off the building and Valifor saves her, that was really good. I did like that a lot. But yeah, yeah, great stuff. I think that's all I have to talk about. There's not big moments I like, but dude, the game's just so great. I like all of the game. But yeah, I honestly just like all of the game except for the wedding. I don't think I like the part. If I had to pick a part of the game that was like, yeah, the writing could have used more work, I didn't really like the part where Yuna was contemplating marrying Seymour. I don't think I like that part, honestly. Like, I get it, you know? Like, I get it. Like, you probably wanna... Yuna wants to do what's best for the people. I understand that, but I didn't really like how they were saying, like, oh, Yuna... Like, Lulu was talking about, like, yeah, oh, Yuna shouldn't marry for love. Like, she should just marry for the good of the people of Spira. I don't know. Like, it's not a bad part, but that's easily the part of the game where I'm like, that's, like, probably the low light. That's probably the part of the game where I was like, I didn't really, like, the story was, like, not bad, but it's, like, kind of, like, not that great. Like, I would have preferred it differently. Like, make a different circumstance. If you're gonna make her contemplate marrying Seymour, at least change the kind of reason for it. I don't know. That's a minor thing. Either way, all of this said, FF10 remains one of my favorite games of all time, along with some of the best in my top 5 easily. But yeah, it's just such a great game. I enjoyed playing it. We're not done. We have post-game to go, but I am talking about everything now because I don't want to gush. I don't want to gush too much about it in the post-game. Again, I'll be like, oh, this is like, oh, this was really great time in the game. Like, I'll call back things, but this is like the last time I'm going to gush about this game like this, so I'm gonna let everything out now. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to talk about. So I'd give this game like a 9.5 out of 10. It's just it's basically, it's as close to perfect as you can get. The shortcomings it has are not enough to make me hate it. But yeah, the main flaws, honestly, just not being able to skip cutscenes. The Yu Yevon thing is just stupid. I'm not gonna go more into that. It's just pointless. That's why it's stupid. And you know, Unalesca and Seymour Flux. But other than that, it's just such a great game. Other things are nitpicks. Such a phenomenal game, a great FF entry, and one of my favorite games. But yeah, next time we are going to do the post game. This is like a 5-hour stream, my goodness. Can't believe it took me this long to finish the game. We lost a Jack like twice, plus the Yu Yevon thing took so long. But yeah, those of you watching on YouTube, I hope you all enjoyed the main story. If you're done watching FF10, that's fair. I know people that watch the main story and then they're done watching. Thank you for watching. I enjoyed the story of the game, and now we get to dive into the post-game, which, I'm gonna be honest, the game's gonna get a lot more boring and tedious. We got a lightning dodge, we gotta play Blitzball. Oh, Blitzball, joy, oh joy. I love Blitzball, but yeah, we gotta do that. So it's gonna be fun. It'll still be fun. I look forward to going through Bosch Temple, Remium Temple, Omega Ruins, and the Monster Arena. I don't look forward to lightning dodging, blitzball, and monster catching. Those are the 3 things I don't look forward to. But hey, it should still be a fun time. But yeah, so we'll do post-game next time whenever we come back. But yeah. So yeah, thank you all for watching. But tomorrow, we are going to do SMT5. We're going to fight the Fiends, and we're going to move on the story, get the 3rd region of the game. We're going to do the Fiends before we explore the 3rd region. I already talked about that, but yeah. So we'll do that on Friday. We're not streaming this weekend. I know I streamed the past 2 weekends, but that was because I had off of work. I'm actually going back to work this weekend, so I won't be able to stream much weekends. But that'll be that. Monday will probably... I don't know. Actually, chat, I'm thinking. I might take like a week off of FF10. I might have to do a bit of prepping for the post game. I'll look into it, but I think either way, we're gonna take like a week or two off from FF10 because we have a big backlog of it, and I think I gotta prep a bit. So we'll probably do Ys 9 on Monday. I don't know, Ys 9 or maybe SMT5 again. Who knows? Whatever I'm feeling, basically. But yeah, thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you all next time.